May we introduce Spencer West from Toronto, Canada. He is a best-selling author, motivational trainer, TikTok star, and has already successfully climbed the almost 5,900-meter Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. And that's just on his hands. Spencer West lost almost his entire lower body when he was just 2 years old and has been walking through life on his hands ever since. And with that, he achieves more than most other people. And not only that, he is also committed to good causes and collects donations for projects around the world. But his disability also presents the 40-year-old with major difficulties over and over again. We present you a day in the life of a man without a lower body. As always, it's going to be very interesting, so stay tuned here at Wonderlane. But let's start with Spencer West's daily routine. This usually begins in his apartment in Toronto. It is located on the 19th floor of a high-rise building in the Canadian metropolis. The 40-year-old lives here completely alone and therefore runs the household himself. To do this, he walks around the apartment on his hands most of the time. Because he attaches great importance to order, he also takes care of his bed immediately after getting up. He folds the blankets neatly, tightens the sheets, and even decorates the pillows. He then uses the time for a morning meditation, ensuring a relaxed start to the day. After all, this is particularly important to him, as he is always subject to fierce prejudice. On the one hand, because many people still can't deal with his disability appropriately, and on the other, because he is gay and has to read homophobic comments on his social media portals again and again. Afterwards, he prepares breakfast, brushes his teeth, and takes a shower. Like most people, he needs to go to the bathroom after a long night, and even that is no problem at all for Spencer. Although at first glance, it looks like he has neither a hip nor a lower body, this is a fallacy. His legs were amputated below the pelvis, and his genitals and digestive organs are still fully intact. After Spencer gets ready for the day, he runs his errands. For long journeys through the city, the 40-year-old uses not only his hands, but also his wheelchair and his own car. The car is parked in an underground garage of his apartment complex. But in order to steer the car, the motivational trainer has to reach into his bag of tricks. Because Spencer can't just get into the car through the driver's door and leave the wheelchair there, he has to come up with a special method. He gets into his car via the trunk and then simply lifts his wheelchair behind him. With the help of a remote control, he can finally close the trunk lid and take a seat in the driver's seat. However, there are a few special features here as well, because Spencer cannot sit on a normal seat due to his size. That's why he got a specially made booster seat from his car manufacturer. He operates the accelerator and brake using two levers connected to the pedals. For Spencer, having his own car is an enormous relief because he can move around freely and is not dependent on any assistance. He then heads off to his dressmaker to pick up a new outfit. Buying clothes also always presents him with a great challenge. Although he prefers to wear normal shorts in the summer, size is a particular problem. Because his pelvis is extremely narrow due to his condition, he has to buy his pants in the children's department. He wears just a US size 5, which is equivalent to a dress size of 110. Spencer is not ashamed to shop in the children's department, but often the cut and childish designs are not exactly to his taste. Besides, he has to have his pants shortened every time, and he is glad to be friends with a seamstress. She fits his clothes for him because even shirts and jackets rarely fit due to his height. After that, it's off to the shoe store for Spencer. Yes, you heard that right. Although he has no feet, the 40-year-old regularly needs new shoes, and he needs them for his hands. Especially in the summer when it's far too warm for thick gloves. His hands need extra protection on the hot ground. Spencer then relies mainly on bathing slippers or light summer shoes. But how did it actually happen that Spencer lost almost his entire lower body? For that, we need to take a quick look back at his past. Spencer was born with legs in 1981, but he suffered from a genetic spinal disorder called sacral agenesis. As a result, he could not move his legs. At age 2, doctors decided to amputate his legs below the knees. They had hopes that he could then learn to walk with prosthetic limbs, but his legs were too weak for that. So another amputation below the pelvis followed at age 5. Although Spencer continued to try to learn to walk with prosthetic legs, he quickly noticed that he got through life much better on his hands. He hung up the prosthetic legs for good, and to this day, does not regret that decision. Despite always being able to cope well with his disability himself, Spencer experienced extreme bullying in his youth. Since he couldn't join a sports team like football or basketball like most of his classmates, he was excluded by his peers. So he tended to stick to the girls in his class and discovered cheerleading for himself. Here, he was finally able to show what he was really made of, and even became USA champion with his team. He became more self-confident and eventually sought the spotlight. He gained his first experience as an actor and eventually even had success as a musical performer. Today, he still enjoys the attention on stage. Meanwhile, though he is no longer on the road as a musical performer, but as a successful motivational speaker and activist. Among other things, he works for the Canadian charity WE and is also committed to good causes. To this end, he frequently works with celebrities and has met with stars such as Demi Lovato, Whoopi Goldberg, and Prince Harry. In June of 2012, his biggest challenge to date awaited him. To raise funds for a good cause, he wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, and only on his hands. To do this, he trained his arm muscles for over a year and persuaded his two best friends to make the trip with him. Although he had initially hoped to be able to manage the first half of the route in his wheelchair, this idea failed after just a few kilometers. So Spencer had to walk on his hands for a large part of the distance, which was not only extremely strenuous, but also caused him many injuries. Nevertheless, he reached the summit of the mountain, which is almost 5,900 meters high, and collected donations of $500,000. With this, he gave countless people in East Africa access to clean water. Physical fitness is extremely important to him today. Because he has developed what is known as tennis elbow in recent years, he now focuses mainly on gentle sports such as swimming. He generally feels extremely comfortable in the water, and he was on the professional swimming team in his hometown for many years. In the evening, Spencer takes care of the remaining housework, tidies up the apartment, and cooks himself something to eat. It is important to the 40-year-old that he can lead an independent and above all, self-determined life. For a long time, he tried not to let his disability show. He always wanted to be like the other people around him and was extremely disappointed when he couldn't do things the way they did. In the meantime, he has learned to accept himself as he is. His disability makes him special, and he is extremely proud of what he has achieved so far. That's why he wants to encourage other people to accept their uniqueness and characteristics and never give up. Spencer West is an inspiration for all of us. Well, that's it for our video. Write us in the comments what you think of Spencer West. Otherwise, like this video if you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time here at Wonderlane.